Mr. Garrett, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A wiser man than me said, probably 35 years ago, the 9 most frightening words in the English language are, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help." I might amend that to 10 words and submit that I'm from the federal government and I'm here to help. Are pretty frightening in their own right. ESEA is a 50-year-old precursor to ESSA. It arose during the Johnson administration along with the war on poverty, and we've seen as federal dollars spent on local education rose, a reverse correlation in the performance of United States students versus students across the globe. And candidly, from a state where we rank anywhere between 4th and 6th as it relates to educational outcomes of the 50 states on a regular basis, I wonder why we're competing against 49 other states as opposed to a world of other nations, because that's the playing field upon which our children will ultimately compete. It's often said that the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and I've seen all too often people attack aspirants to serve in political capacities based on what program they supported or didn't support. If you don't support this, you don't care. If you don't support this, you don't like children. If you don't support this, you're not interested in finding solutions to poverty and expanding opportunity. It's all horse feathers. What we need to be focused on as opposed to intentions is outcomes, results, what happens. And I'll tell you, speaking with frustration that vents back to 6, 7 years ago as I was serving in the state legislature, where we identify failing schools and leave students in these failing schools without an option for the parents who lack the socioeconomic and financial wherewithal to vote with their feet, we doom those children to inferior outcomes and inferior educational opportunity. If you ask me whether I believe in nature or nurture, I will tell you I believe in nurture every single time, and that the color of a young person's skin or the job of their parents isn't so much a precursor on their success as to what they're exposed to. But we run into the institutional educational monopoly all the time as we try to create escape hatches for students in places like the whopping five schools that we had the courage to identify as failing in Virginia, to find a way out for these young people who have just as much fundamental entitlement to the single birthright of Americanship, and that is opportunity, as every other kid. I'm sick of watching kids fail based on their zip code. But Jefferson said wisely, and I'll paraphrase, the government closest to home is most effective, most accountable, and governs best. My colleague from Oregon stated that she thinks the solution to our educational problems has to be at the federal level, and then in the same paragraph lamented that ESSA prevented Oregon from including particular standards that she felt might help best affect good outcomes for students in Oregon. Dr. Pletnick, do smart people work with you?
I have very intelligent people.
And they're professional and trained people?
Yes, they are.
And they care. They care about the children in the district that you serve?
They do.
And you're the superintendent, correct?
I am.
How many students does your district have?
Approximately 25,000.
And can you name one or two of those kids who might have special needs you're trying to overcome their challenges yourself?
I could, but I will not.
I'm not asking you to, but you could. Yeah, right, but nobody in this room could, right? You could, and you care, and you have smart people, and we don't have a monopoly on good ideas. And you want what? What's best for the outcomes for the students that you serve, is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. Ms. Nowicki, you're familiar with the United States student ranks versus their global peers as it relates to academic performance in readings like math and science? Are you familiar with the historical data?
Not specifically.
Okay. Are you familiar with how we were doing in, say, 1950, 1960, 1970 versus 1990, 2000, 2010 versus our global peers?
Are you talking about the PISA ratings?
In surveys of outcomes educationally. I would submit, by way of brevity, because I have 1 minute and 9 seconds, that as we've spent more, we've actually gone down versus the competition. Now, I'm not arguing against spending more. Let me be clear. We need to spend money on education. But I got an idea that folks in a county in Arizona and the state of Mississippi know better what's needed. Dr. Wright, we talked about CTE. Is it good in CTE to align the training that we give students with the needs of the job providers in the communities?
Absolutely.
Okay, and who knows better the needs of the job providers in Tupelo or Biloxi, the people in Tupelo or Biloxi, the people in Jackson, or the people in Washington, D.C.?
People in Tupelo and Biloxi.
Correct, thank you. I mean, I'm a little biased here. And so I guess what I'm driving at here is that this is great. I think this is a step in the right direction. It doesn't have, like anything from Washington, it has warts and pimples, but you are good, smart people who give a damn, pardon me, about the outcomes for the children in your communities. And the way we arrive at the best solutions is by letting loose 50 laboratories for democracy and finding out what works. And our role, since we've already co-opted so much of the resources at the federal level, should be to power those down to states and localities. Would you agree to let you all do what you think works best and then let others fall in on the plans that succeed? Thank you. That's rhetorical. I'm out of time.